Testing 1, 2, 3. Hello, welcome back to my channel. Give me just 1 second while I set up. Until then, enjoy the free music. Or actually, let me... Where is the music?
How's it going?
There we go. Okay, perfect. So now what I'm gonna end up doing, full screen. Alright, so for those of you who are just now tuning in, I'm streaming on both YouTube and TikTok, and so I kind of just wanted to show you guys my process for what I did for the coloring situation for this particular piece. Sorry. So this did take me around roughly 2 hours, but however, I think overall it did come out really good, and so I just kind of wanted to show you guys the step-by-step process for how I ended up doing this one. Again, just starting with the base colors, adding on different, and with Krita, relatively easy software. I also did used to animate using this software as well, just trying to learn how to do beginning animation, and so I'm gonna try to start that back up again, except this time using Blender, just to make sure that I kind of get used to more of those types of dynamics, so that way I can start making my drawings move and also try to work on other new projects as well. But yeah, so just with the overall drawing process of this one, I decided to just stick to a nice base color for my two characters, and then at the same time I also worked on background coloring as well. What I'm starting to do right now is try to simplify my painting as much as I can. Not too much, but just enough so that I don't end up overdoing it like how I usually do, but this way it should blend in a lot more. So this way I'm just going ahead and just posting the whole 2-hour stream that I did for this piece. I do usually stream first on Twitch, and then I go to YouTube just so I can get some editing done, while also just kind of going full display on it. So here you'll be able to see my step-by-step process, and then also just if you want to just kind of tune into more tips and guides for how you can also color in the future. There we go. And then another thing that I'll also do is just put the description of the software that I use in the chat as well. And then also I might create a video, just a brief walkthrough Krita, just so if you guys are also learning beginning drawing or beginning like painting or beginning animation, you might also be interested in that as well. over the summer, I'm going to be doing lots of more summer poses for my characters and also more summer designs and drawings. I'm thinking about creating like a cute little calendar or some stickers later, so I was just trying to come up with good ideas for it. One of the practices that I really want to kind of get into the habit of doing is also doing beach pose or practices. So if you've ever seen like just practice drawing the ocean and also practice drawing the sand and the sun glares and everything. Hello, welcome. Thanks so much for tuning in. Hi there. And then once again, I am streaming on both TikTok and YouTube. I've gone ahead and already done this video up on Twitch, so if you guys want to go ahead and check that out, feel free to while it's still up. Right now I'm just kind of playing back the video and the coloring process that I did for this project, and then also kind of trying to tune in as well on different ways that you guys can kind of draw and paint and just practice rendering too. This project took me a while, but I relatively did love and enjoy it. I always love doing cute little poses and pictures like this all throughout my drawings, just because it can really help practice more closeness and then also getting the characters more in tune with each other as well. These two are my original OCs, Iris and her boyfriend, so I'm trying to still come up with the names relatively for each of my characters. But overall, I just kind of want to get into the practice of habit of just making sure that they stay consistent with their overall look and appearance. But yeah, this entire rendering process, it kind of helped me figure out shortcuts and just different ways to kind of draw in and also color my characters without having to do too much work and add too many shadows. Just because lots of the times when I do end up doing it, I'll spend hours and hours and hours on end on it, just because I always think that it could be better. And as an artist, you always will think that your artwork could be better. However, I just also want to make sure that I don't overdo it, because at the end of the day, less is always better. Or less is more, if that makes sense. This was really fun. And then another thing that I was probably thinking about drawing was maybe some Lilo and Stitch art. I know with the new live action that's out right now, it's kind of caught lots of more inspiration, but I also kind of wanted to stick to the classic Lilo and Stitch, just because they're not, or I know that the story is gonna differ. I spoiled it for myself by looking on the internet. Next time I won't do that, but I know now that it's gonna really differ from the original movie, and because of that, I'm like, okay, let me just get my fan art out of the way before I watch it, just so that I'm not too disappointed after I see it. So yeah, I just really wanted to kind of go more indicative with the poses and everything. There we go. And then another thing that I did mention briefly, anytime that you decide to kind of create a character and you know it's going to be a consistent character that you're going to be redrawing and recreating all the time, it is also might be better to create a character sheet with both the colors and then just have it as detailed as possible. So for example, my OC characters, Iris and her boyfriend, they have their own character sheets, and it's divided up into sections. So you have like basic skin color, basic hair color, eye color, which shadows that I use, which rendering tools, and then also colors that I use for them, just so that everything stays consistent. Doing this ahead of time so that way you won't have to keep going back to trying to figure out what the colors are really help out a lot when you're ending up doing the drawing process, and then also the rendering and coloring and everything. So it makes for a really nice, really cute, easy shortcut. Another thing that I did was a short little cute hand tutorial for these characters, one of the things that I have dedicated just moving forward is just practicing drawing hands and practicing drawing feet, just because I know those are the two main difficult ones that tend to really kind of get on a lot of artists. I am no different. I always struggle when it comes to just getting everything down. And so I just want to make sure that everything stays consistent. And the best way and the best part to do that is also to make sure I tried my hardest to figure out how I'm going to make each of my drawings very detailed. So one thing that I did notice, especially when drawing big, large, like thick, muscular hands, is that you always have to remember proportion size. And with proportion size, when the hand is always going to be relatively, you want to kind of draw them bigger than what they are, but not as much as what they're supposed to be. I know that doesn't really make sense, but just to kind of like sum it up, you have to draw the hands. So for example, this guy's like a big guy, you want to draw his hands more proportional, and you want to make it seem like his hand can cover her face. And so when you do that, again, I always start with the box method, just drawing a box, and then after that you're using tubes for his fingers. And remember, his fingers are divided up into 3 sections, and then the last section, which is going to be the tip of his fingers, is going to be a cute little nub. And that nub is overall what's going to be a curved detail shape. And with that curved detail shape, it's also going to kind of be the baseline for the fingernails. And then if you want to be more detailed on it, towards the back of the hand, just draw some lines to signify veins, and also the bone structure along with the muscles that are in his hands. So just being creative and getting very detailed with it. Adding those little add-ons really go a long way, especially if you want to bring more life into how your character is going to look later on. That's kind of just a little short tip that I used that was very helpful to me when I was going through this process of kind of just figuring out how to do hands. And then once I started drawing the male anatomy and then drawing the male body figure and positions, it became really fun, and I was able to just really get more in tune and detailed with it. So yeah, very exciting. And then also, it also helps encourage the practice. I know for lots of particular art and genres in manhwa and in manga, they always, one of the main jokes or one of the main like pitches is that the male's hands are always a lot just bigger than what it needs to be. And then I also find that that is true. I don't know why, it just seems a lot more appealing, and it just kind of seems a lot more funny to me in that way. For female hands, usually I tend to draw it a bit more dainty. And then when I add in the actual fingernails itself, it's not going to be like the full-on nails. Technically, if you want it to look, I guess the proper term is elegant, you don't have to color in the fingernails, you just have to kind of make them prominent enough that we know that it's there. And then that'll help just kind of make the fingers themselves seem more elegant.
My birthday.
There we go. Hello, welcome. Thanks so much for stopping by. We're just going through the rendering process and then also the coloring for one of the art pieces that I did. And then if you want to go ahead and see the video again, right now currently I'm streaming both on YouTube and on TikTok, and I streamed on Twitch yesterday. There we go. So this process, I'm just adding on the base color for both of the characters. It is going to take a while just because they're hugging and embracing each other. I also have to separate things like which one is his hair and then also which one is her hair, just to make sure that things don't get mixed up too much. I think for the next one, I might do just some Lilo and Stitch art because of the movie, and then as I said before, I'm gonna just stick to the original. I haven't seen a live action yet. I plan to, and then once I see the live action, I'll also give you guys my thoughts about it. Hopefully it won't be disappointing, but you never know. I'll do some nice shots and keyframes of it. There we go. I am gonna fast forward just a little bit to get to her hair. There we go. Everything is going to be on separate layers just because. Welcome. Hey Jenna, thanks for joining in. There you go. detail with the base color. And then for the eyelashes, I always just want to stick to the hair color, just to kind of make it seem like that it's that natural color as well. This should look very cute. Hello, welcome. Thanks so much for joining in. Welcome. That looks good. base is almost out of the way. Okay, that makes Alright, so I believe we're done with adding the color onto one of the first layers. The second layer is going to be with the leaves and then also the flowers that are going to be its own thing. And then also as a reminder, good morning, and then if you haven't already, go ahead and drink some water. Remember, it's good to stay hydrated all throughout the day, and it's also very important to at least drink 1 gallon of water every day. So from now, I'm going to start doing these little cute reminders just during every stream, just because I always forget to kind of drink water, and so it kind of helps me. And then no matter what time and wherever you guys are at, it's also good for you guys to drink water as well.